hospitality you've shown to myself and my colleagues so far. Thank you for organising the whole itinerary. We have 7 days of real intense visits and inspections and travelling, so we look forward to that. I just want to start with a brief background in regards to ASIC. We started back in 2006. We was one of the only new accrediting bodies to be accepted by the UK Border Agency as an accrediting body. And Gurinder touched on earlier in his speech about people wanting to pull you down and sort of not let you progress. And that was certainly one thing we experienced when we started ASIC, in terms of Ofsted and UK Border Agency were fine. But there were other people and other organisations which didn't see a new accrediting body perhaps as the appropriate way forward. However, since then we've gone on to be the leading accrediting body in the UK. We have the most accredited institutions in the UK. We still accredit institutions on a weekly, monthly basis. We've expanded overseas. We now accredit in Singapore, India, France, Malaysia, Africa, the US, and it's something that we're looking to expand on ourselves. The accreditation process as a whole is not an easy thing to go through. It's something we designed before we was, or while we was becoming an accrediting body, and it's something that we always believed would be, we wanted to raise the bar of private education. So it wasn't a case of we wanted to just accredit institutions if they were satisfactory. We wanted to push an institution to say, right, this is the level that you're at. We can see improvements that can be made in this area, that area, and some institutions take that on board and like that idea. Some institutions are happy for the accreditation. On the whole, we get positive feedback in terms that the institution actually wants to grow and proceed. We help institutions progress. We've accredited institutions from the start, from early on, in terms of being a fledgling institution to expanding perhaps overseas or within the UK, and we've helped in a consultancy sort of kind of role. Our CEO, Maurice Dimmock, again, as Gurinder mentioned earlier, they are, from what I can gather, obviously I know Maurice is my father-in-law, so I know him very well, but from what I've read about KD Singh and what I've heard, they are very similar people. They're both extremely passionate about what they do, not only as the CEO of the organisation, but in education as a whole, improving standards for institutions worldwide, and I think that is likewise for Mr. Singh. Working with Maurice, he's very demanding. Not only is he my father-in-law and I see him all the time and he constantly talks about work, but he's always pushing. He wants the best, and as I say, he's extremely passionate. From what we've seen on the short time we've been here, we was at the hospital in Gurgaon earlier today, and the staff there were unbelievably passionate about what they did. And that went from the doctors right the way down to reception as you walk in. And I hope that if that carries on throughout the whole Alchemist group, which I'm sure it will, that the next 7 days will be an absolute pleasure to come and inspect. As Gurinder mentioned, we were very surprised when he first contacted us. I've known Gurinder now probably 7 years. We've worked together a lot. I class him as a close personal friend. And when he contacted us about the Alchemist group and the education side, we were, as Maurice had mentioned, very surprised that he was willing to put yourselves through it as a way. Because the accreditation process is demanding. It's time consuming. It's not just about preparing for the visit that you're having over the course of this week. It's about, if the accreditation is awarded, the next 4 years, the next 8 years, the next 12 years. And we like to treat the accreditation as a partnership. We don't want to come in, look at what you're doing, perhaps suggest things, and then disappear and not to be seen again. We like to see it as a working relationship whereby we can hopefully add to the Alchemist education group, and we can work with you along the way. I know there's sort of ideas of perhaps a medical college and some hospitals, and again, we could certainly help sort of develop that and bring that on. So we see it as a growing partnership between the two organisations. The documentation, that is a big part of the visit. We can't get away from that, but it's not purely a documentary, us sit down, look through it, yet you pass or fail. We will be speaking to members of staff, we will be looking at site visits, and then later on doing student interviews, lesson observations. So we like to think of the accreditation as a sort of a whole-encompassing type project. So, as I say, when Grinda approached us and after 4 months said, yeah, we'd like you to come out, we were extremely surprised. However, having worked with Grinda for the past 7 years, certainly his previous institution, we were very confident in what he would be able to produce. He spoke very highly of Alchemist. We've done our background research, and the documentation that he's already provided and so far leads us to believe that we'll have an exciting visit, and it will prove fruitful. But I would just like you to all sort of not be too concerned by the inspection. We like to see how it is. We like to sort of experience the Alchemist group or whoever we're visiting in their natural habitat. Don't try and do extra things that you wouldn't necessarily do. Relax. We'll try and be as inconspicuous as possible and try not to be as disruptive as possible. But yeah, it would be a nice opportunity now to again thank Grinda for involving ASIC. It's something that we do appreciate as well. Even though for the previous weeks leading to this and probably the next weeks and months after, we will be hounding him and keeping on top of him in terms of the accreditation process. So he's putting himself through a lot. But again, I would just like to thank you all for coming tonight and listening to myself. I'd like to introduce Dr. Lawrence Watson briefly to